Dearest gentle viewer, I welcome you to my new sewing video series, which will start out historical before moving into historical fantasy territory. As you might have gleamed from the title and thumbnail of this video, I embarked on the journey of designing and making a Bridgerton-inspired gown. Ever since the Regency-Gossip Girl meets historical romance series debuted in 2020, blending contemporary aesthetics with the style of the 1810s, and thus creating its own distinctive look, I had put a gown inspired by the show on my future project list. With the release of Season 4, I decided to finally make those project plans a reality. So I invite you to settle in, ring for some tea, and let us begin. As with any other of my projects, I started by doing a lot of research, both on the actual dress history of the Regency period itself, as well as the costumes of Bridgerton, in order to decide what I wanted to do design-wise for my own gown. When looking through the reference materials from the show, I kept being drawn towards the Bridgerton family in Season 1 and their color palette of blues and soft purple hues. Given my own love for everything blue, I wasn't really surprised. The basic silhouette of the gown I ended up designing featured the characteristic Empire-style high waistline, with a long skirt flowing out below the bust. I kept going back and forth on whether I wanted to go with the more standard short puff sleeves or not, but then I ended up choosing the soft flutter sleeves seen on Daphne on multiple occasions throughout Season 1. A pair of long gloves, as well as a satin shawl, completed the design. And it should come as no surprise what the color scheme for this project was going to be. It's blue, of course it's blue. I couldn't forget the Bridgerton staple of having a lace overlay over the base fabric of the gown, plus the beaded lace trims along the hem, waist and neckline, as well as the hem of the sleeves. With the design finalized, it was time for a trip down to the modiste, my fabric stash, to pick out the materials. For this project, I was able to use up quite a few materials from my stash, starting with the base fabric for the dress. Almost a decade ago, I started a cosplay project from the fandom that shall not be named, and the fabric's been sitting in my abandoned project pile ever since. While in the planning stages of this new project, however, I was reminded of the sky blue satin from that unfinished project, so I dug it out again, and lo and behold, I had just enough leftover fabric to use it for a Regency dress. I had a little over 2 meters of uncut fabric, which would be just enough for the skirt, while the bodice and sleeves would be cut from the pieces that had already been assembled into a dress years ago. Pretty much the only new fabric I purchased specifically for this project was this stunning beaded and sequined tulle for the overlay. It was really difficult to find such a fabric in a matching sky blue to my satin, so I went with a bridal tulle and decided to dye it. For the lace trim at the waist, along the neckline and sleeve hems, I decided to use this beaded lace trim from my stash that I would be dyeing together with my tulle to achieve the same final color. The wider, scalloped lace trim along the hem was a perfect opportunity to use up the remaining yardage of the sky blue lace trim that I used for the waist accent when making my Taylor Swift blue Folkmore dress. In case you'd like to check out that project video as well, I've linked it down in the description and up in the cards. One dye bath of sky blue with a dash of sapphire blue later, I was rewarded with all of my chosen materials matching really well. It's always a gamble when dyeing fabrics, especially when you're trying to achieve a specific color to match a pre-existing material, so I was very relieved with how well this experiment turned out. A new-to-me historical era means making a full set of new undergarments to aid in creating the correct silhouette for the period before getting to the actual gown itself. Which means you can look forward to a whole host of videos going forward until we reach the grand finale of the season, starting with the layer closest to the skin and working outwards from there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to let me know you enjoyed it and to not miss any of my upcoming videos. In case you'd like to check out real-time progress for this project in between videos, feel free to follow me on Instagram as well, linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time!